our good pal from Pewter Report, Matt Matera. You can see him rocking the Mets Fit Mets cap today. What's going on, Matty? How are you, bud?
I'm doing great, Jay. It's fantastic to be talking to you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I was going to text you. It was super late last night. I was like, I'll just text Matt in the morning. I think he'll be available with the Buccaneers being off today. We'll talk some wrestling as well. But, looking at some of these things, and excuse the background noise, of course, here at Benchmark International Arena for the Lightning and Devils tonight. But looking at this game, and we'll go back against the Buffalo Bills, it's kind of crazy when you think about it, Matt. If you say, hey, you're going to get all these turnovers, you're going to run the football really well, you think you're going to give yourself a good chance to win, not lose by 12. When you look back at that game, now that we have a couple of days to look back at it, what's the things that really jump out at you?
Certainly the defensive side. I mean, anytime you allow 44 points, it's going to be alarming when you have a defensive coach. To me, the big thing, and we've seen it, we saw it a week ago against the Patriots, it's allowing the big plays on defense, but really more specifically, just an inability to generate a pass rush against the better teams. They can feast on the New Orleans Saints and get 5 sacks. They can take advantage of a 49ers team that had a backup quarterback and no Kittle and get 6 sacks in that game. But they had 1 sack against Drake May and the Patriots 2 weeks ago. And they didn't even get close to Josh Allen last game. And what was interesting and alarming in that matchup is not just the inability to generate pressure, because I think we're learning Yaya Diaby is a solid player, but he's not that alpha guy. He's not that number one edge rusher. Is they found success getting to Josh Allen on that first drive by blitzing, being aggressive, and that led to the interception by Jacob Parrish. And then for whatever reason, Todd Bowles just decided I'm not going to blitz as much anymore. And it really reared its ugly head on that touchdown to Shavers, where they were playing zone coverage. Everybody wants to freak out about Yaya Diaby dropping back in coverage, but that wasn't Yaya's guy when he sprinted all the way back. That was just Benjamin Morrison out of position, but they only rushed 3 guys on that play. So Josh Allen had time to wait, manipulate the coverage, look that way, and then throw the other way, and that's ultimately what tricked Benjamin Morrison. So to me, it's a lot of the lack of pressure that has a trickle-down effect, because then the secondary has to cover more. Guys have an ability to get open, and they're just not rattling the quarterback. And that was a big issue for Sunday against the Bills.
I want to ask you about Chris Braswell. I made this comment to our guy Ian Beckles yesterday. He's invisible, man. He is absolutely invisible. He's not even playing well on special teams, in my opinion. He was one of the culprits of one of those long returns yesterday. What is up with Chris Braswell? Because right now, like, he seems to me like he's a bigger bust than JTS. Like, at least JTS, you saw him on the field. He made some tackles in special teams. Like, Chris Braswell has been one of the worst draft picks that we've seen in this team for the last couple of years.
I mean, it's a telling sign when Hassan Reddick gets injured and he's going to be out for a couple of games, and they turn to Anthony Nelson as the next guy to step up and not Chris Braswell. And Braswell even got a couple of more defensive snaps percentage-wise in this game than he did the last 2. But when you see that Yaya's playing 80% of the snaps and Anthony Nelson is playing 80% of the snaps when he's in, and even Hassan Reddick was when he was available, they're not divvying up those snaps, and it shows that they just don't have a lot of confidence in Chris Braswell. And the story on him was, he waited his time in Alabama, and then eventually his time came, and he was able to flourish and make plays for the team. And that was kind of the book that was read to us with the Bucs of, okay, all right, he's a 3rd, 4th string guy. Give him another season. He'll develop more. And then when it's his opportunity, well, you would think he would have had more opportunities with Hassan Reddick out, and they're not giving it to him. And when he is in the game, he's not getting QB hits. He's not even generating pressure to make the quarterback throw the ball a little bit quicker. So I'm with you. I think the Bucs are going to be looking at edge rusher again in this year's draft and maybe in free agency, because Hassan Reddick, it doesn't look like he's going to be back after this season based on the money they're paying him and the production that he's brought. So you're kind of starting over at outside linebacker with David Walker, who will kind of be another rookie next season. But I don't really see Chris Braswell too much involved. He'll be on the team because he's on a rookie deal, but he's not really a factor.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You think 6, 5, and 4 sacks, 15 of their 26 sacks this year have come in those 3 games against the Jets, Niners, and the Saints. And it's just like, yeah, it's great, but think about it. Who leads the way? And it's Yaya with 4 and 10. And then you look at guys in the secondary, and that's the way they're able to generate pressure. Uh, how do you fix the pass rush in season, Matt? Because you can't go out and get anybody. The trade deadline's passed. All you're doing is looking from within and hoping Hassan Reddick gets better, and you're hoping that Todd Bowles can scheme up sacks. It's tough. It's a tough conundrum that you're in right now because the cavalry is not walking through that door.
No, they're not. I mean, one thing you would love for them to get home with the 4-man pass rush, but part of that reason why they can't is because they're dropping back their outside linebackers in coverage so damn much. And again, I'm not even mad about the Yaya thing because Yaya tried to help on the play and sprint 30 yards back, but they still drop back Yaya too much in coverage and Anthony Nelson too much in coverage. And it's like these guys are edge rushers. They're there to get after the quarterback. Same with Hassan Reddick when he was in there. Same with Chris Braswell if he gets playing time. The element of surprise and disguise is gone when you consistently do it. So I think you just got to take these guys and, maybe a broken clock is right twice a day. You have to rush them more than dropping them back in coverage. And it's going to be on Bowles to just continue to bring pressure with blitzes and maybe simplify things a little bit. I mean, the Bucs have such a complex defense and it helps out in a lot of different ways, but then you get guys overthinking. Then you have a miscommunication here or there. And sometimes they focus so much on the disguises that teams go, all right, like we know what's coming now. Like we know that you might drop back a D lineman in coverage or Jacob Parrish is coming off the edge. So they got to find a way to be aggressive, but also kind of simplify it at the same time.
How much of this do you put on Todd Bowles? Because I know we get to this point again 3 years in a row where they're hitting that midseason swoon and you're starting, the pitchforks are out again when it comes to Todd Bowles. You and I have spoken about Todd Bowles and, the last, year and a half now. What's your take on how much blame he has to take on this and kind of the reaction from the fan base towards him?
Yeah, as soon as he makes one mistake, people are going to be at him. I think Todd Bowles has done a great job this year in terms of correcting a lot of his faults as a head coach. But it blew up last game. I mean, I just don't understand why in the fourth quarter they didn't go for it on 4th and 2. And you give the ball back to the Bills, they immediately score, and then that was the game because you're down 10 at that point, or at least 2 scores. Bowles, I respect the fact that he has a blind faith in his defense and in his team. So in his head, he's going, okay, we didn't get that first down. We'll punt it, and our defense will get the stop. But in reality, they were not stopping Josh Allen outside of those 2 interceptions, 44 points, 6 touchdowns for Josh Allen. In no reality were the Bucs going to get a stop on the Buffalo Bills after punting it there. So I don't like the fact that a lot of the coaching mismanagement that has happened with Todd Bowles before really flared up in that moment against the Bills. And then defensively, I think it's a little 50-50. I think Bowles probably deserves more blame for this game with the overall schematics that he dialed up and not blitzing as much. I mean, he barely blitzed at all in the third quarter, despite getting pressure early on in that game with blitzes. So I would have liked him to stick with that. But I think there's other games where guys got to cover. Benjamin Morrison's got to cover the receiver against the Patriots. Zion McCollum can't allow that 3rd and 14 against New England where you're trying to get the ball back and win the game. On the defensive side, I really do think it's 50-50. I think Bowles can, maybe dial up some things a little bit better, but also there's a lot of talent on this team. Tyke Smith's playing great. Jacob Parrish is playing great. But, you still have Vita, Antoine Winfield Jr., Levante. You have a lot of talent on this team, and sometimes guys aren't getting it done. So I think the blame can be shared all over on the defensive side.
What do you think about Benjamin Morrison so far this season?
I think Benjamin Morrison is trying to play catch up from missing a lot of time in training camp. He was in and out, didn't really play too much, didn't really play in the preseason at all. And you look at Jacob Parrish having such a great rookie season. He was there for all of training camp. So I think Benjamin Morrison right now is kind of working out the kinks that could have been corrected in training camp, but he wasn't available. Now, the problem is it's very much trial by fire because you have him playing in regular season games and very important games as well. There's no other way to like really correct it. So this moment, yeah, I'm a little concerned about Benjamin Morrison, but for like year 2 and year 3, I still think he's going to be a big factor in this defense. I would highly, highly consider this next game coming up against the Rams that have one of the best teams in the league and a great offense that didn't look so great against Seattle. So, they're going to look to kind of get right in this game against the Bucs. I would highly consider for Tampa Bay either, if Jamel Dean can't play, either moving Jacob Parrish to outside corner, which he played earlier this season, and putting Christian Izien in the slot or whoever Todd Bowles decides, or go back to Kindle Vildor at outside corner, who had an interception against the 49ers. Because I think right now teams are just going to continue to pick on Benjamin Morrison until he proves that he can kind of make more plays. And again, in the long haul, I think he will be able to, but in the immediate, it's just not enough.
Obviously, another one of the big culprits in that game was the special teams. And, we've had this conversation before earlier in the season. We were like, what's going on with the coverage? And especially now with these kickoffs, I mean, you're holding your breath now when you're kicking off after a score and you're building momentum. We know that Todd is loyal to a fault. You just alluded to that before. Are you surprised? Like, he's not a make a move in this season type of guy, but if there was a move to be made, and I hate for calling for people's jobs, but I just feel like the time is now maybe for Thomas McGahee. This is just not working for the Buccaneers, is it?
It's not. And by the way, happy birthday to Todd Bowles. I believe.
There you go. Happy birthday, Todd.
That's a tough decision to make on his birthday. But yeah, I mean, I don't see what other adjustments that you can really make. I mean, there's been a pattern of this with Thomas McGahee at some of his other stops. I mean, there's a lot of Giants fans being like, I've seen this before. And to me, the biggest issue is that it's not just one thing. Earlier in the season, it was the blocked punts that, really cost them that game against the Eagles in week 4 earlier in the season. Okay, they get that fixed. Great, fantastic. But then another part comes undone with the kick coverage. And Bowles was really private when it came to talking about the kick coverage. I mean, he said, like, we got to be better. We got to tackle better, like every head coach does. But he was asked about, like, well, did you consider just kicking it into the end zone or kicking it out of bounds? And he said, we did, but it just wasn't happening. What do you mean it wasn't happening? Like, was Chase McLaughlin just like, no, I'm not going to kick it into the end zone? Like, dude, that's your job. That's what you are asked to do. So I didn't understand Bowles being so private about that.
I think that's because it's on.
Can't do it.
I think that's because that's really the special teams coach. Like that's your job. Like, you know what I mean? You're delegating. And I know what you're saying here is like, you're the head coach. You should be able to kind of step in and override that. But you also, I see both sides, right? Because you want to delegate. That's what good coaches do. And like, this is your specialty. And if he is overriding your special teams coach, then why the hell is he out there anyway? So you don't want to micromanage. That's not Todd Bowles' thing. He wants to empower these other guys. But kind of like what you're saying, if we're at the point where we're hoping that the head coach is overriding the guy that does this for a living, why the hell is he the coach in the first place, right?
No, for sure. And that's why I think if they were going to make an in-season move, it has to be Thomas McGahee, getting let go, and then Keith Tandy can take over as special teams coach. But at the same time, I think there's certain moments where you can pick and choose when to do that. I mean, you're trying to win a football game. This was a back and forth game with more than 7 lead changes. I think at some point you got to step in versus, am I going to let this game slip because I'm going to try to prove a point with my special teams coach? No, I think you have to step in certain moments or, throw some advice or whatever the case may be. So I would have liked to see Bowles kind of override that if that is the case, but it was just an odd thing because it was over and over and over again. The Bills started the ball at midfield. It just cannot happen, and it impacted a lot of the game. Maybe the defense does get a couple of stops because the Bills were ready to go for it on 4th and 2 and 4th and 1 because you can take those chances when you're at midfield or at the opponent's 40 versus backed up on your own 30. So that definitely was a critical situation in the entire game.
What would a loss to the Rams do to this Buccaneers team?
Not much, honestly, because we've seen this song and dance before with the losing streak. I mean, it's happened every time that Bowles has been a head coach. So I don't think anybody's going to be shocked or panic if they were to lose to the Rams, and certainly they are going to be an underdog in that game because you have the light at the end of the tunnel that if you win the division, you're going to get into the postseason. And that's why my concern, and I understand Carolina is nipping at the heels of the Bucs, but I would also counter with Carolina still has to play the 49ers this Sunday. They play the Seahawks, and I believe they play the Rams as well, and they get 2 shots against the Bucs. I think they go 49ers, Rams, and then later on Seattle plus 2 games against the Bucs. So everything is still very much in front of Tampa Bay, even if they were to lose on Sunday night. The bigger concern for me is how they've shown up recently against the better teams, the upper echelon teams in the NFL. I get it was fantastic. They beat the Seahawks in week 5, and that's their signature win. But when you get to December and the playoffs in January, I don't really care that they beat the Seahawks in week 5. I look at these more recent matchups, non-competitive against the Lions on Monday Night Football. A good chance to beat the Patriots where you outplayed them, but ultimately didn't get the job done because of allowing big plays and then having no answers defensively, 44 points allowed against the Bills. And then if they were to lose to the Rams, I mean, if the Rams scored 30 points, that's 100 points allowed over the last 3 games, 100 plus. So that's a big issue for me going into the postseason. They can have momentum playing against some lesser teams. But to me, it's not necessarily the losing streak. It's not showing up in big games against better opponents, which may do them in when it comes to the postseason.
All right, let's get to the real stuff here. Last night, Monday Night Raw, Madison Square Garden, John Cena's last appearance. There we go. Chain Gang Soldier. I love it. Before we get to that,
I was wearing it today. Yeah.
I love it. I'm seeing this on social media. Like, people in New York are getting all freaked out because Cam Scatterbo was like mixing it up. Like, I'm like, Jesus, get over it, man. I love when they incorporate professional athletes. I remember when Wayne Rooney was there in Manchester all these years ago, Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton last year. LeBron James has been involved. Like, I mean, that part's fun, isn't it? I mean, I love to see the pop culture intertwine.
I love it so much. The Brunson thing was awesome until he started like shaking his finger, but he was like a in the middle of the season, or it was the off season or whatever. Like, Cam Scatterbo's already injured. He can't get that much more injured. Like, lighten up, people. Have a little fun. He just pushed the guy. You know, he's a football player. Yeah, I'm with you. I love any celebrity integration. I know people don't love celebrity matches, but I enjoy them. I think it's fun. I think it's like an alternate reality type of thing. So I thought that was great. I wish Jameis was in the mix there. Can you imagine Jameis pushing against the Judgment Day and stuff like that? That would have been hilarious. Now, it's not a great look after you lose, but yeah, I thought it was fun. It was harmless. And
Jameis was actually in the front row here when Monday Night Raw was in Tampa years ago when he was the quarterback of the Buccaneers, which was fantastic. But an end of an era of wrestling when it comes to John Cena and his last appearance last night at Monday Night Raw. And I was curious what colors he was going to wear. Was he going to wear kind of the red, white, and blue of the Giants and the Rangers? But he went with the dark navy. He went with the Yankee colors, which was cool because remember years ago, CM Punk called him the New York Yankees. And it's been such a unique experience and back and forth with John Cena in New York over the years. I mean, it's been one of the crowds that's really given him a lot of grief outside of the Royal Rumble appearance where he surprised everybody coming back at number 30 at MSG, and everybody cheered, and it was wild seeing Eli Manning jerseys cheering John Cena. But the reception last night was incredible. I don't think that they could have done it any better last night. Going against the Judgment Day with Dom and Finn Balor and JD McDonough, 3 of the better workers in the game, and then also giving and showing some love to Rey Mysterio and Sheamus, giving those guys the opportunity. I don't think that they could have done any better. What did you make of last night and kind of the last couple of appearances from John Cena?
I love what we've seen or not seen from John Cena recently. Just awesome matches, great promos. Love that the crowd is able to serenade John Cena and show him some love for all he's done for the business and entertainment and entertaining us as fans for 23 years now. And his history with the Garden, I think, is very special, too. It was awesome what he did last week in Boston, becoming a Grand Slam champion, winning the Intercontinental Championship. And obviously that's his home city as well. So I thought that was so cool, getting Dom involved as well. But like John Cena and the Garden, there's 2 things that really stick out to me. One is, and this was early John Cena, the Doctor of Thugonomics, my favorite version of John Cena. When he won his first championship, the U.S. title, he gave the FU to the Big Show. It was a big moment. And then you mentioned the other one coming out at number 30 in the Royal Rumble at the Garden, winning. I still remember Triple H, like his eyes.
His face was, yeah, it was great. Yep.
Yeah, it was just incredible. So those were two special moments. Loved the intro yesterday. He did like this little dance where he's like,
yeah,
because you can't see me. Time is now. And he's like kind of laughed at it. So I love that. It was very house show-esque. That's the type of thing you go to the holiday show, which is coming to Tampa December 27th, and stuff like that. You see those 3-man tag matches. I'm nitpicking. I would have liked maybe a one-on-one match with someone different than the Judgment Day. He is going to fight Dom.
I'm with you.
At Survivor Series. So, I mean, that would have been cool to see another one-on-one match, maybe one we haven't seen just yet. It was cool to see the other. I mean, when he got beat down 3-1, I'm thinking, well, surely, like John Cena is going to need some help. And then I was wondering who. Rey Mysterio, I think, was pretty obvious, but I was curious who the other one was going to be running out. So, but yeah, it was a fun match. It was exciting. House show vibes for sure. Everyone doing the 5-knuckle shuffle and all that good stuff. And the good guys won and thought it was a great way to cap off John Cena on Raw, getting a win because they didn't do that with SmackDown. They have the Smosh finish with Brock Lesnar coming in. But yeah, it was great to see John Cena win, and we still got 2 more events with him. So it's bittersweet for sure. But I love John Cena; he's the man, and it was cool seeing him yesterday.
Yeah, I love the 10 beats of the Bowdrin, the 3 of them, and the way Ray like put his foot over the rope to beat the snot out of his son, which is hilarious. All right, so we know he's wrestling at Survivor Series against Dominic Mysterio, which is really cool. And then it's Saturday night's main event. Time is Now tournament is underway. We've seen some wins. We still got a couple of first-round matchups. It seems like all signs point to Gunther as being that guy to beat him, but part of me thinks it might be somebody else because of the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, he's going to drop the belt, you would think, in that final match, and that person would be the IC champ. Would it be somebody else, right? Like, that's the thing. It's like, I feel like it's Gunther in the field. If it's not Gunther, who is it?
That's a good question. Yeah, because, like, even this match against Dom at Survivor Series, if he loses, you can't have him lose 2 in a row. To finish his career losing and then losing. And John Cena's a very traditional guy. And as we know, it's all about going out on your back and putting someone else over. If it's not Gunther, I'm trying to remember, like, who else is in the tournament. Because there's been surprises. Like, I don't know who's advanced yet at this point and who else, like, still has to go.
Yeah, because they haven't put, like, a bracket out like the old King of the Ring stuff. It seems like they're kind of waiting on the matchups. Because I know, like, Finn and Penta go this weekend. Or this Friday on SmackDown, which is weird because they're both 2 Raw guys. There's a guy like Solo, maybe a guy like Rusev. You know what I mean? But like, I would thought like Javon Evans might have been a good. You never know. There could be another swerve where somebody comes in at the end and fills in for somebody, and like Obafemi wins or something. I would love to see something like that because that's another thing that John Cena said. He's like, I really want to put somebody else over. Like, could it be a Carmelo Hayes? Could it be? I like that. I think that the Saturday night's main event, that there's going to be a lot of NXT guys involved. I mean, that's what John Cena is looking to do. I hope it's not Gunther. I really do. I even hope, like, I would love to see Chris Jericho come back because I was hoping that he was the guy last night. I'm glad that it was Dolph Ziggler because he got a great pop and he got a much better pop than Zack Ryder. I feel bad for Zack Ryder. But, I mean, I'm just waiting for Y2J. I hope that he makes his appearance back, or even Edge to have, like, because Edge has been off. Both those guys have been off TV at AEW for months now. I'd love to see one, if not both, of those guys come back, even if it's just a one-off. Edge will probably just be a one-off. Y2J is probably going to go in the Hall of Fame next year or the year after, so it's time for him to come home. But, yeah, I hope that the surprises haven't stopped now that we know that the first-round matchups. Like, I hope some more of the surprises still come back.
Yeah, and I'm not like crazy familiar with a lot of the younger guys and the NXT wrestlers, and that's why John Cena's doing this to kind of like put them on display. Actually, I thought like when Dom came into the ring against John Cena last night, when the Judgment Day came out, I was thinking like, all right, I wouldn't hate if it's like Finn Balor against John Cena tonight, and then like, he fights Dom or whatever, but that was fine. But kind of to that point of showing younger wrestlers and stuff like that, I was flipping back and forth. I was watching all John Cena, but then after that, I was kind of flipping back and forth between Monday Night Football and Raw. and I turned it on for the Gunther match. I didn't know the guy that Gunther was
Javon
fighting.
Evans is crazy.
That
dude.
guy was dope. Like
Yeah,
the
he's
way
the man.
some of the moves he was doing, and I know some fans complain like there's too much flippy stuff or there's not enough flippy stuff. I thought it was the good amount of nice in-ring wrestling and then also cool flippy stuff.
He's also big. He's also like a bigger, taller guy. He's not like super small, and he's already he wrestled Randy Orton on NXT. He's wrestled a lot of different guys, Javon Evans, and his move, we didn't really get a chance to see it, but his finishing move is a jump off the top rope into an RKO, which is like dope. So he's one of the guys in the future, man. And he, like I said, he's not like your smaller high flyer. He's kind of tall, and when he gets a little bit more muscular, I think he could be a better version of a guy that I still wish we saw more of in Montez Ford. But I think it's just kind of we're missing out on him.
Yeah, he was a dude. I didn't really know much about him, but after seeing his match against Gunther, I was like, I would like to see more of him because he put on a very entertaining match. So that's what they're trying to go for, and I think they succeeded in that realm of it.
What do we got up on pewterreport.com, my friend?
Tomorrow, we are previewing Bucs Rams. How the hell are the Bucs going to find a way to win against the Rams? And we've actually had some great episodes recently. They have been during the bye week, but definitely recommend everybody go check it out. We had Bruce Arians on the podcast.
And John Gruden
on the podcast as well. Definitely recommend to anyone that hasn't watched that yet. Check it out. It's kind of evergreen. We talk about the current Bucs, the Bucs teams that they coached to win Super Bowl. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, just Pewter Report podcast on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel.
94_Matera. Check them out on Twitter/X. And of course, all of our friends over at Pewter Report, pewterreport.com. Matt, you're the best. I appreciate it, buddy. Have a great rest of your week. Talk soon.
Thanks, Jay. You're the man.
The best.